Well, hello and welcome to Community Talk. I'm Dan Scheidel, the Executive Director, CEO of the United Way of Enid, Northwest Oklahoma. And with me in the studio is Cindy Bailey. And Cindy is with Messer Bowers Insurance in Enid, and she has been with our Chili Cook-Off Committee for a number of years. And just the last couple of years, she's been the chair of our committee and doing a phenomenal job. So Cindy, let's talk about the 30th Classic Chili Bash.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So what's happening this year? It's going to be on what day? It's going to be a Friday, right?
October 27th at Central National Bank Center from 11 to 1.
Have we had it at Central National Bank before?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So so anyone that's familiar with the Chili Cook-Off, they know where to go. They'll be coming in, and
That's
they can
right.
either get tickets at the door or they can buy them from United Way, or where else can they get
Or,
tickets?
you know, they can get them from me.
Oh, okay. Messer Bowers Insurance. You can always call Cindy Bailey. And what's your number there?
233-1442.
Okay, great. Well, so we know it's at CNB Center. How many competitors are usually at the Chili Cook-Off?
We normally have 40 booths on average. This year we are at maximum capacity with 43 entrants.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it is.
That's great. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
I am too.
I hope you
Yeah.
are. I think the committee is too.
Yeah.
But you all have been doing such a phenomenal job getting the word out and really, I think, beating the bushes to get some of the businesses to participate. And it seems like every year it just continues to grow, doesn't it?
Yes. It seems that way, Dan.
So what time is the competition? When do people need to get there? And what happens during the whole festivities?
Well, people that are participating with the booth will come in at 8 a.m. Friday morning, do their setup, get their chili prepared, and they really need to bring that hot before they get there, and of course set up their booth. And at 10 o'clock, judging will begin for the judges' chili choice and best booth. So we'll have that from 10 to generally about 10:45 or so, and will be open to the public at 11 a.m. till 1 p.m. And as Dan said, you can buy tickets at the door. It's only $5.
And that's all the chili you can eat, pretty
All
much?
the chili you can eat.
And 40 different types of chili?
43.
Oh, 43, excuse me. I'm sorry, yes, 43. Can't leave off those last three.
Right.
So what about the theme this year? Last year, I think it was Chili-ween, is that right?
That's
like
right.
the Halloween chili-ween?
Yes, it was a Halloween type theme. This year we are celebrating our 30th annual, and so this year we have gone with a theme of 30th Classic Chili Bash. Basically, it's just a good old-fashioned chili cook-off like we've done for 30 years. Some of our participants might choose a 30s theme. Some of them might go back to the 80s.
When we first started the chili cook-off.
Yes,
right?
in 1987 would have been our first one.
I think that was kind of the conversation with the committee when we were talking about, well, should we do a 30s theme? Well, it's like, well, what do you do for the 30s? And
Right.
so we talked about, what would you do for the 30s? And then they thought, well, 30 years ago it was the 80s. Well,
Yeah.
maybe we should do an 80s theme. So,
Right.
So we decided to go, hey, if they want to do a 30s theme or 80s theme, they can come and do either one. So we gave them
Right.
a lot of creative license, right?
Yeah, and I think we'll see a lot of creativity. There's all kinds of interesting things from the 30s, like Bonnie and Clyde.
Gone with the Wind.
Yes.
Wizard of Oz.
That's
You see a
right.
bunch of the Munchkins coming in, serving up chili.
Right.
I love it.
And of course the 80s, big hair, rock and roll,
yeah.
all kinds of good stuff.
Never thought of that, yeah. Or hoverboards and
Yeah.
everything else. Pac-Man, Miami Vice. I could see Indiana Jones, somebody doing a booth like that.
Yeah.
And of course, Ronald Reagan. There's all kinds of options here. Well, what about the categories, the competition categories? Can you go through those real quick and
Sure.
and what those are all about?
Yes. Of course, the first category is the judges' chili choice, which will have an independent panel of judges who sample the 43 chilies and narrow that down to the top 3.
I'm bringing a box of Alka-Seltzer and Pepto, so just in
Okay.
case in case the judges need some help. So.
Yeah. And then the next category, we will have a panel of judges who judge the creativity of each booth. And so we'll be giving out an award for that. Our next category is what we call the top dollar category. And that is one of the most important categories because obviously that is how much money is raised by each of our participants. And that money can consist of their fundraisers of their own. During their own campaign, they might do in-house chili cook-offs, they might have Jeans Day, all kinds of fun things where they've raised money. And of course, anybody who wants to tip in the top dollar jar. So we take a combination of that. We also include pre-sale tickets. So if any of our entrants have sold tickets prior to the event, they get $1 credit for that towards the top dollar. And we will be awarding the top 3 in money raised. And then our next category will be People's Chili Choice. And as you can see on these tickets, Dan, there
Those
are
lovely neon tickets here.
That's right. That's right. There are 3 stubs, and this one here we will tear off.
People's choice.
And people may drop this in the jar of the participant that they like the best, and we'll be giving out an award for that as well. And as you can see, they also have an additional stub here so that they can get a free drink and cookie to go with their lunch.
All right, and so the middle piece is just to give them for the
drawing of door
right,
prizes.
we got door prizes.
Yes.
Right. Well, let's talk about door prizes.
Yes, we will have door prizes throughout the entire event. And obviously that middle section will have your name and phone number and
Yeah, it's on the back, name, address, phone number, email, so they'll just write that,
and
fill
we'll
that out.
drop those in the hopper, and we'll be calling out door prizes throughout the entire event.
Oh, and we have some super cookies too. I mean,
Yes.
McAllister, Subway, Shivers, I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean,
Yes,
for some
yes.
great sweets, so
Right.
don't want to miss that.
Yeah.
Right. Well, what about, normally we have someone do an announcing. I think KNID did it last year. This year KOFM is doing it, is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah.
KOFM will be announcing this year.
Big Allen,
Yeah.
Leffer,
Yeah.
Okay.
And they will also be providing entertainment for us throughout the event over the PA system. And so it's going to be quite the fun
Yeah.
event.
It'll be good.
Yeah.
So back to top dollar. Can you explain a little bit more about top dollar, how that works? Because I'm not exactly clear on how that works and how they can, kind of stuff their top dollar raised.
Right.
Right?
Well, first off, of course, every booth has what we call a top dollar jar. And it'll
Can they
be
put IOUs in there? Oh, no, they can't. Okay.
no
yeah.
IOUs. And of course, they'll decorate their jar according to their booth and how they've decorated that overall. And of course, anyone that is, participating with the chili tasting is welcome to put a tip in that jar. So that money will go towards top dollar. And of course, the entrance, as mentioned before, a lot of those participants will have an in-house campaign,
Right.
and they'll participate in things like an in-house chili cook-off, Jeans Day. There's all kinds of different things that they can do. I remember one year we did what was called The bosses got pie in the face.
You mean John? You guys hit
That's
John in the face?
correct.
You got pictures? I want to see
I
those.
do have pictures of
You'll
that.
have to send those to me.
Somewhere in the archives, we do have pictures of that.
That's funny.
But all kinds of different fun events for each participant to raise money throughout the campaign and then be able to add that to their total. Finally, once again, any of our interns that have sold a pre-sale ticket will get $1 credit for each ticket sold.
Gotcha. So, and again, all the money that we raise goes right back into the United Way and the campaign and the supporting
Absolutely.
all of our partner agencies and doing great work in our communities. So that's a good thing. The other neat thing is we have a couple of football helmets this year.
Yes, this
And
is
of
going to be
course,
fun.
this one is the OU football helmet autographed by Mr. Lincoln Riley himself, Coach Lincoln Riley. And of course, this is his inaugural year, and I think this is going to be a great collector's item. We still have about 380 or 90 tickets. And I think Brooke Bodie and Catherine Gann are going to be selling tickets at the event. So we'll be raffling this off. And we also have an OSU helmet that was, of course, signed by Coach Gundy. And we'll have that one ready to raffle off at 12:30 at the chili cook-off. And we've already sold out the OSU tickets, as you can imagine. But we still have tickets left for the OU football helmet, the autographed OU football helmet. So courtesy of our friends at OG&E, that's where this one came from. And then the OSU came from our friends at the American Red Cross serving Northwest Oklahoma. So again, we'll be drawing for that. You don't have to be present to win, but if you want tickets for that or the chili tickets, contact us at the United Way. Contact Cindy at Messer Bauer. Does Darren have any at TPI? Do you know? Or any of the other?
I don't know that.
Okay,
for sure.
well, at least
We'd have
contact.
to give them a call.
Yeah, we need to. We'll try and get some of the committees to pick up some of those and sell some of those on our behalf. We'll also be selling chances for a special pre-show dinner engagement right before the Mannheim Steamrollers at the C&B Center on Thursday, December 7th. So we'll be selling chances for that, but we won't be drawing for that until sometime in November so that we can sell more tickets for that, courtesy of C&B Center. So before we wrap up, we just want to kind of recap. We've got the Chili Cook-Off, which is the 30th anniversary. The theme is the 30s or the 80s. So it's going to be fun. So you're going to want to come down just to check out the costumes and the booths and how they decorate those. Tickets are $5. You can either get them at the door, you can get them at Messer Bauer's Insurance, or you can call us at United Way. Our number is 237-0821. I got that memorized now.
Yay!
Yeah, it's only taken me 8 months. And we are just so thankful for everyone who participates, all of our sponsors, all our contributors, everyone that comes out and shows their support for the United Way through the Chili Cook-Off. So thank you so much. We hope that you'll join us. What else am I missing, Cindy? Is there anything else?
Well, I think you've pretty well covered
We
it.
covered it? Okay.
I think so.
Well, thank you so much for being here again and
You're welcome.
doing all that you've done. I want to thank the committee, the Chili Cook-Off Committee. They did a super job this year putting this together. And, it takes a lot of people pulling together, working united, and living united to make this happen. So thanks again for Community TV and United Way of Enid and Northwest Oklahoma. Till the next time.
Hi, I'm Lisa Magyar with Creative Arts Enid. Find us on Facebook and our website, creativeartsenid.com. We're at 222 East Maple. Come get creative with us and watch for us on Community Talk.
Hi, welcome to Community Talk. I'm Matt Lohman, CEO of Hope Outreach Ministries. With me today, I have Sandy Hamilton. She's the Community Care Coordinator for our ministry on 815 Main Street. Sandy, welcome. Thanks for being with me today.
Thanks for having me.
I wanted to talk with you today about the community care ministry and see what you could share with the folks who are watching today so that they can get a better understanding of what that ministry is, where it is, I kind of just mentioned it, and what time it's open. So first of all, if you could, where is the ministry and what time is it open?
Okay, the Community Care and Homeless Ministry is at 815 West Main, and we are open, the Homeless Ministry opens at 8. The Community Care Ministry starts at 9. And I bet you're thinking, what's the difference between Community Care and the Homeless Ministry?
Right.
Well, our Homeless Ministry is actually a day center, and it's a place where homeless people can come take a shower. We serve as a mailing address and a message phone for them, and we give them a place to be in inclement weather, out of the elements. So that's our homeless ministry. The community care ministry is located in the same spot. I pretty well do both jobs. And the community care ministry is a work and exchange program that allows people to come in and work for things they need, like milk, eggs, and bread. That's a voucher that can be used at United. They can work in exchange for a laundry voucher that can be used at Sedger Duds. They can work in exchange for a gasoline voucher. That's $15 for 2 hours, once every 90 days. Some of these programs are 30 days, some are 90. We also have a work in exchange program for utility bills, which a person can work 14 hours and we'll pay up to $100 towards a gas, water, or electric bill. That's a biggie.
So if somebody goes to a church and they say, hey, I need help with my electric bill or I need help with my water bill, what should they say at the church?
At their church?
At their church. Where should they send them?
They should send them to Hope Outreach.
That's right.
We like to do the people who can work for what they need so that people who can't work, and there are people who with disabilities or limitations that cannot work. And if we put the people to work who can, that frees up the churches to help those who can't.
Right.
And we would like to see an even distribution amongst the ministries in Hope Outreach. I mean, at Hope Outreach and the churches.
That's good. So when they do come, where are they working? What are you having them do?
Well, you're going to work in our warehouse, hanging up clothes, pricing socks, maybe sorting shoes and putting them together with a rubber band, or you're going to be putting out merchandise on the floor at our thrift store. Sometimes you might be doing housekeeping, cleaning, straightening over at the parenting ministry, putting out the baby stuff. It all depends on where we need help.
Okay, very good. So we don't ask anybody to do anything we wouldn't do ourselves.
Not anything we wouldn't do ourselves. And it's not hard. It's, in fact, it's easy.
Yeah. Now, I think one of the neat things, too, over my time with Hope Outreach and seeing the way the ministry works is when somebody comes in, they've got a shut-off notice, and they've procrastinated for whatever reason. They're getting ready to get their thing shut off, but they come and work for us. What can you do?
Well, if they come with someone, both people could work 9 to 4 that day. That's $100 in one day. Or that person with a 48-hour cutoff notice could come in and work 9 to 4 2 days. That's $100.
And what about our relationship with the utility companies and the water companies? I know before that we've said, you know, they're working with us, so they actually kind of hold off a little bit of.
Well, you know, and I tell people to call if they're in that situation, to call the utility company and let them know that they are going to be working for us and that we are going to pay when the work is through, but we don't make any promises.
Right.
Because people, I mean, you encounter things on a day-to-day basis. You might not be able to get in to do the work, so we're not committing ourselves until the work is finished. The bill's not getting paid.
Right.
So.
What about people who we can't meet the need that they have? What do we have for them?
Well, you know, I have a resource card, and I share with them the resources that are available in Enid, and there are quite a few. So if we're not able to meet the need, I would refer them to Catholic Charities, St. Gregory's, CDSA, Salvation Army, someplace that their own home church is a great place to start.
Right. Yeah, the relationships they build there.
Right.
Yeah, and we do have really good relationships with a lot of other nonprofits in town,
Yes, we
which
do.
is a really important thing. And they have vice versa. They send them to us a lot of times. How many folks would you see at the community care ministry on average?
Well, I would say, I don't know, it's the first of the month, I should say, not that many, but we have been swamped. And that's unusual this close to the first of the month. I've been averaging 6 to 7 people a day.
6 to 7 people a day who are needing extra help.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's at the first of the month, which is usually, there's no traffic.
Yeah.
So the need is greater suddenly,
Yeah.
and we're seeing lots of traffic.
It's kind of just a question, but if we didn't ask them to work, how long do you think our resources would last?
Oh, we would be broke. Seriously, if you're giving it away, people are going to come take it.
Yeah.
But I also find that people don't mind. They don't mind working at all. If the need is really there and they have an opportunity to earn it, they're fine with that. Our community care program is the longest running ministry of Hope Outreach. We've done that from the beginning,
Yeah.
and people don't really mind.
Yeah.
I mean, I get people who say, "You want me to work for it?" And I get people to say, "I'll be happy to work for it."
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. And we've actually hired some folks before at our warehouse and our thrift store because they actually were good workers.
Right.
And they needed a job, and we were able
Right.
to see that they were good workers, and we were hiring them. What would you want individuals or churches or anyone else to know about the ministry?
Well, we all do better together. I mean, we can meet part of a need, they can meet part of that need. We help each other. So, and it's good that we have such a close-knit working relationship with other ministries in town. We can't do it by ourselves.
Right.
So.
Very good. The question I was going to ask you is, can you give me an example of some people that we've helped before?
Well, I like to think of our thrift store, for instance. It has become a ministry in and of itself. Our employees of the thrift store and warehouse, we hire people that I like to call second chance people, who might not be able to get a job right off the bat, or they're coming out of prison, for instance, and people want to look at them like, "Oh, I'm not going to hire you," and Hope Outreach does. And we give them an opportunity to go to work, get a good, say a year, 6 months under their belt. They've got a good reference to go on, a work history. They can then turn around and use that to go on to someplace else. We don't want to be a stopping point. We want to be a stepping stone.
Right.
So I would think our thrift store ministry is one of the things that enable people towards more responsible living by giving them that step up.
Help them that way. Now, we've helped a lot of people each year with their utility bills, with water bills. As you said, we averaging about 6 or so right now a day. Where do the resources from that come from? Do we have a secret money tree that we just pluck the money off of?
We don't shake a tree and the money falls off. And in fact, I might want to explain a little bit more in detail. Our utility assistance program is limited to 2 people a week, so we help 8 people in a month. Everybody else is gasoline, milk, eggs, and bread, laundry, clothing, household necessities. So that's limited to $15,
Right.
$10 to $15. So donations the money to fund our ministries come from people who shop at Hope Outreach. So our thrift store is our fundraiser.
Yep. So with the donated goods and cash donations.
Cash
help as
donations, yeah.
well.
There are churches who help. They donate. People who donate. People who are doing estate planning and want to leave money to Hope Outreach. It's going to a really good cause.
Leave a good legacy.
It does. It helps single first-time moms through the parenting ministry. It helps the homeless. It helps underemployed. It helps the people who are just starting over. I mean, you name it. We've got a ministry for it. People coming out of prison. We do a lot at Hope Outreach.
Yeah. Well, Sandy, the number of people that we reach, the number of people that we're helping, is pretty phenomenal oftentimes. As the weather's starting to change, and we just got this little bit of a cool snap now, and I hate to even think about it, but when that frozen stuff starts falling out of the sky, what are some of the needs that we might need at the homeless ministry and the community care ministry as people come in who may not be prepared for that kind of weather?
Right, and a big request we get often is for gloves, men's gloves. And I say men's because there are these one-size-fit-all little knit gloves that we get a lot of, which are perfect for women or children. But we need big men's gloves.
Okay.
And hoodies. If you're cleaning out your husband or your senior in high school son's closet and you have hoodies and you want to get rid of them, bring them to the day center because people like to layer, and hoodies come in real handy. Hoodies and gloves.
Hoodies and gloves. And
Hoodies
that's
and
at
gloves.
815
West Main.
West Main. 815 West Main. And what's the number there if they wanted to call and ask a question?
237-4800.
Okay. And we don't turn away, again, financial donations of
Oh,
any
not
kind,
at all.
right? So those still help a lot.
They do.
Now, you've been at Hope Outreach a long time. What would you want the community to know about Hope Outreach that they may not know?
Well, I think it's important that people realize that we are not just a thrift store that is in business for profit. We are a nonprofit, 501c3. And what we raise financially at the thrift store goes to fund our ministries. So when you're shopping Hope Outreach, you are supporting our ministries, all 5 of them. So I would encourage people to shop our stores. Christmas is coming, holidays are coming up. There's a great selection of seasonal items out in the store right now for Halloween, Thanksgiving. Christmas will be coming out. You can save a bundle on Christmas ornaments by shopping at Hope Outreach.
Yeah. I always like to joke that we're cheaper than storage. So a lot of people donate their Christmas stuff and then they come back and buy it the next year because it was cheaper than storing it or having to get up in the attic. But and I will have to say, you touched on something that recently I've had to post a couple things online to let people know, and I've gotten feedback that people say, you know, I thought you guys were just so that people could buy things cheap in the community. Why are you charging for that? And you bring up a wonderful point that it's through the sale of the goods at the thrift store that fund our ministries.
That's right.
And like we talk about, we're connected to a lot of nonprofits, and I know some nonprofit executives and people spend almost 70% of their time raising funds rather than actually doing the ministry that they're out there trying
That's
to
right.
do. And I can tell you that our ministry people get to spend 100% of their time doing ministry rather than have to worry about raising funds.
That's right.
Because of the way our thrift store is set up, and we're helping people as we're raising those funds.
That's
even.
right.
So it's a wonderful thing. Well, Sandy, thank you so much for being with me today. I appreciate it. Sandy, how long have you been with Hope Outreach?
17 years.
17 years. So she's just getting to know Hope a little bit, starting to figure it out. I've been with Hope for 7 years and have enjoyed working with you that whole time. But I appreciate you being a part of Hope Outreach and the service that you've given for this amount of time. So I'm Matt Lohman, CEO of Hope Outreach Ministries. This is Sandy Hamilton, Community Care Coordinator at our Community Care Ministry. We're so thankful that you took the time to listen and hear a little bit more about Hope Outreach and our Community Care Ministry. Thank you so much, and until next time, we'll see you later.
Hi, I'm Brenda Bingham, Blue Star Mother President, Chapter 11, Enid, Oklahoma. We are a 501c3. We send care packages to our troops, and we take donations, and we're at the Oakwood Mall between the Cookie Company and Dillard's. Stop by, say hi, or drop off a donation. We appreciate all that you do. Thank you, and come watch us on Community Talk.
Hi, my name is Frank Baker, and with me is good friend and acting colleague Chelsea Davis. We're both from the Gaslight Theatre, and we're here to get you so fired up about the Crucible that as soon as you see this, you'll probably be getting online with gaslighttheatre.org to buy your tickets, because it's going to be a fantastic show.
It is. This is a show that a lot of people in the Gaslight have wanted to do for years and years and years. Frank and I are some of them, and we're really happy to be part of it. So we're really excited, and I know that this is a show that you're not going to want to miss, especially around Halloween, because if you're not familiar with the Crucible, it's about witches and the Salem witch trials. And the fun thing about this show, or the not so fun thing, I guess, is that it actually is based on historical events. And we play characters that were, you know, they were real. Not everything that happens in the show happened probably in real life, but it makes for a good drama.
It really does, and what I like about it, it's so poignant in terms of kind of doing a deep dive into these characters' lives and the arc of what happens to them, because this was a horrific experience. I mean, a number of people were hanged. It became mass hysteria. And I think, Chelsea, let's talk a little bit about the background of The Crucible, written by Arthur Miller, who you may know also from Death of a Salesman, one of our great playwrights of the American stage. And at the time he wrote this in the 50s, it was sort of an allegory for the Red Scare and the McCarthy hearings. But I think independent of that, it kind of stands on its own as a very challenging, powerful, and also for October witchy type of thing.
Yes, it definitely shows just what a terrible thing all these people were living through. And again, if you're not familiar with everything that happened, it all starts because a group of girls just kind of want to stir up some trouble, and they just start saying people are witches, and that causes a mass hysteria and in this new world that was so scary to these Puritans. It caused them to just go extremely harsh on anyone that was accused with very little evidence.
There's one line in the play, and I've not researched the historicity of it, but I think it's Reverend Hale, who talks about the number of death warrants he's signed. And not all of these people were hung, the death warrant was issued for because they confessed themselves and the like and got out of it, but it was in the hundreds. And it was all over the Puritan colony of Massachusetts.
Yes, it was, and my character that I'm playing in the show is one of the girls that is the accusers. So I don't really get to see it from that side. I see it more as the side of everyone that is accusing and causing all the problems. And Frank's character gets to be the one that is dealing with all the problems started by all the girls.
It is absolute. You talk about just being sucked into a vortex of crazy. I think it bills so well because Miller's dialogue is, my God, is so good. But let's talk a little bit about your character's arc, because I think you've got one of the most challenging to play. I think Jake, who's playing Reverend Hale, also does. But and it's only acting, of course. But she's been a servant at my house. We have had an affair. She's been thrown out of the house by my wife, and then kind of take it from there, because it's really kind of fascinating what your character then goes through.
It is. Abigail definitely. She can't handle rejection. and
she makes people pay, trust me.
And so when she can't handle it, she chooses to strike out, and she finds a way to do it, which is accusing people of witchcraft. And so if you make her mad, she has ways, and she also can get the other girls to go along with her. And we have an amazing group of girls that they're great to work with. Our youngest is 12, so we have an age range that's very wide for the girls, and they're all doing a wonderful job. But they go along with whatever Abigail says, and they're not going to go against it because they don't want to get turned on either. So yeah, she's a mess.
Well, and you've got such a wonderful opportunity, because she is the ringleader and can be very harsh and I think at times vicious, and then also can flip a switch and show incredible warmth and intimacy. And just from an acting standpoint, I mean, to be honest, I'm a little jealous, because that's a lot of fun to try to flip those switches and play that, I would think.
It is, and they go very quickly. One moment she's screaming at one of the girls, and then Frank's character walks in, and she's sweet and happy because this is the guy that she wants to be with. So she turns on her charm, and she's very good at playing the parts that she needs to play, whether it's to be the innocent poor child that's being afflicted by all these witches, or if she's going to be the girl who's in love, or if she's going to be the ringleader and you don't want to mess with her. She has a lot of different sides, and that's been a really great thing to get to do from an acting point. So
well, and our cat, and here in a moment we'll talk about, we'll go through the list of cast members, because what I love about this particular show, Chelsea, is, you know, it really is community theater, because there are some of us who are mainstays, have been on stage a tremendous amount, and then some others who have been on stage just a little bit, have just done a couple of things with us, some newbies, and I think that is the life's blood of community theater, because it really should be the community. And
yes.
New folks coming on stage, because from a selfish standpoint, people will come to see them. They'll buy tickets.
They will. Yes, we do have a variety of cast members. Some of them I've worked with in the kids' drama camp. So it's fun now that they're working on stage with me as a peer. And so that's always exciting. There's, you know, I knew some people that are from high school that are in this show. So it's kind of cool to reconnect with, you know, people like that. And then it is nice having familiar faces that we all know, and then just meeting complete new people, so.
That's a wonderful dynamic, both for us on stage and I think for the audience too, to see fresh faces doing some wonderful work. Let's, you know, and we're not trying to suck up to our director, Katina Sunval, but we will anyway. She has really, this is a play she has wanted to do, and I think, you know, you've directed, I've directed. There is really something special about directing a play that speaks to you, and it's a story that you want to tell.
I agree, yes. And she's done a wonderful job. And
I thought her casting was impeccable.
I did too. And she's done some amazing things with the blocking. Frank and I have this great scene where it's just us two, and it starts out very possibly sweet, and then just turns to all kinds of craziness with, you know, Frank throwing me down and both of us ending up on the ground at some point, and him just being terrified at the end. So.
It is, and Katina's because the words themselves are very powerful, but then when she added in her little bit of blocking filigree, however you want to describe it, it was like, ooh, this will really. So it's so. Kudos to our director, because and I think also our tech people are going to add some really intriguing lighting and special effects that will help tell this story. Of course, I'm sure our good people at Enid Television are throwing up some graphics on the dates and the like, the last 2 weekends in October, and it's any more, you know, people who haven't been in a while, it is so easy to get tickets because you can log on and pick your seats.
Yes, and that is such a helpful thing, I think. You can go online and gaslighttheatre.org and get online and get your tickets. And it is, like Frank said, it's so nice to just be able to pick out your seats. You can see what's available. You don't have to guess whenever you're on the phone, because sometimes that can be a little confusing whenever you don't know exactly where a seat is. But you can see exactly where the stage is and exactly where you can sit. And that's really nice. So you do definitely want to get your tickets before the show dates. You don't want to wait until you get to the door.
Yes, and we have some very special evenings. The first weekend, there's a Sunday matinee you can go to at 2 o'clock. And then the following weekend, and when the Gaslight Board decided to do this, I said, nobody's going to care about that. Thursday at 7 o'clock has been a big hit. That works for a lot of people who maybe have kids, don't want to be too out late, so that Thursday at 7, then all the other performances are at 8 o'clock. Well, here in the closing stages, Chelsea, I know you put together a list of everybody who's in the show, and we just, you know, it's one of those things where if you've never done this, you don't realize that everybody on stage and behind the scenes plays such an integral role in making a play work, because, you know, the Barbara Sweats and the Mitch Lyons and the Levi Sanders and Katina and the folks up in the booth, man, if it's all not clicking, we go south. And we got, I think, a very strong group of folks.
We do, yes. And I had to bring a paper because it is such a large cast. We have Addie Betts in the show, Mark Anzalone, Jennifer Grimes, Bailey Wilson, Lindsay Trammell, Leroy Watkins, Carol Jarrett, Catherine Jones, Frank Baker, Mona Campbell, Matthew Perkins, Carmen Ball is playing 2 parts, Lane Gavitt, Jake Scott, Tyler Grimes, Evan Chermak, Jared Hardy, Leslie Moores, Jersey Garrett, Katrin Croker, Gabby Nelson, Harrison Lyon, and Cody Lopez. And then our director again is Katina Sunval. For our ADs, we have Mitch Lyon and Levi Sanders, and Barbara Sweat is our stage manager, and our lights and sounds are done by Whitney Hall. So
Whoa, that's a bunch of folks.
it's a lot. It's a lot.
We appreciate them all, and some have been on stage a little bit, like Lane has become active recently. Some of the others, first time, so it'll be a thrill to see them on stage. We know a troop of folks will come want to see them strut their stuff during the Crucible. Let's kind of talk about the emotional impact of the show. We've got a few minutes left. Of course, we're still in the midst of rehearsing it, but I find this a very powerful play. It makes you think.
It does, and just the moments between your character and Mona's character, and Mona plays his wife in the show, and just seeing the betrayal that's at one point, and the tenderness and the reconciliation and fear. You see all this from all these people, and you see how just saying one simple thing can lead to something that can tear lives apart. Lane's character has a whole little bit about his wife reading books, and it discomforts him. And then, this causes a whole problem for his wife, and then, he kind of has to live with it or deal with the consequences after that. So
it's one of those plays you will enjoy it, because I do want to close with a huzzah for the witches, but it really is. It's a very thoughtful play, and it's because, number one, Arthur Miller is such a darn good playwright, and he will take you places where I think it will give you some lingering thoughts afterwards, which sometimes in entertainment is not a bad thing. But since it is Halloween, let's talk about the witches one final time, because I know the first time you guys had, and I don't want to give too much away, but when you had your first kind of boom moment in court, scared the bejesus out of me. It was really, really, and continues to be really, really good.
that's good. And the reason that we say witches, there really are no witches in the show, but the group of girls that cause all the chaos and havoc are the closest thing to witches in the show, and they're what cause downfall, or the most evil things, closest to witches. And we have a very mob mentality thing going on, and if one person does something, the others all start to follow.
It is, I mean, it's well written, but then it's being performed very, very well. So folks, you're in for a treat. It's the Crucible, coming the last 2 weekends of the month, the Gaslight Theatre here in October. Go to gaslighttheatre.org. You can pick your evening or afternoon you go. You can pick your seat, pay for it. I really do think it's going to be a very powerful, amazing experience. At least we've got our fingers still crossed. I think we're going to get there.
And a great show for Halloween.
Yes.
This is one you won't want to miss.
So on behalf of Chelsea Davis, I'm Frank Baker. Come see The Crucible.
Hi, I'm Leslie Newell with Junior Welfare League. Come shop at Return Engagement at 123 North Grand in downtown Enid, and watch for us on Community Talk.